We're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to switch from corporate wrestling to corporate entertainment. So last week, if you have not heard, it was the big D23 announcements. And there was a lot of drops. There was a lot of drops. It wasn't just Marvel. We were watching for the Marvel. We were watching for Star Wars, which Wayne Wikipedia definitely will appreciate. But there's some other stuff here. So we're going to just make this spot all about all the 2022 D23 announcements for your listening pleasure. All right. So you guys ready?
You have like a list or what?
I got a list. Yeah, I got a list. Some of them will just...
How many is there?
What's the proper number for a shit ton? There's a lot. So some of them we'll cruise through. We'll just drop it. But we're going to break it into business units within Disney. So we'll hit Pixar, we'll hit Marvel, we'll hit Star Wars, and we'll hit Walt Disney Studio proper. So does that sound like a plan?
Nice.
First one, since it is Halloween season, it is perfect. Hocus Pocus 2. The trailer dropped for that. I don't know if you guys... Hocus Pocus is one of those next generation... Like, we grew up with the Friday the 13th, Halloween. Those were our go-tos. But this next generation is all about Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town.
Didn't we go to a screening for that at a corporate thing?
Hocus Pocus, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did that because they're like, you guys are getting a little bit bloody with some of the horror movies you're choosing. So can we show Hocus Pocus?
They were like, Beetlejuice is too scary.
Beetlejuice.
And Wayne, that's what we were talking about earlier. It's just like, you're at work. This is a safe space. No conjuring demons by saying their name 3 times. Let's just get Bette Midler in there. So, but actually I did I finally, I'd never seen it before, and I had to go see, like, what is all the hype about? And it was fine. It wasn't bad. Very, Sabrina the Teenage Witch type show. Totally fine. But it was big enough that I'm not surprised that Disney, they opened up their wallets and they're going to be bringing in a sequel that's going to be dropping next month, just in time for Halloween.
Is there a lack of courage in Hollywood?
Oh,
I mean, they're rebooting everything. They keep going back to the well of things from the 80s and 90s. Are they scared to try new ideas?
Oh, 1,000%.
Short answer, yes.
Mario was just talking about that. He got, big IP fatigue. That he's like, he just wanted to see something original, something different. But the bigger the company, the bigger the reboot, for sure. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you're like, okay, cash grab. So we'll see if that is true for that.
But to be fair, sometimes the cash grab works out.
Yeah, I mean,
because I got to tell you, I did not expect to like Creed so much. When I heard about Creed, I just smelled instant cash grab. I was like, no way.
Creed or Creed 2?
Well, Creed, because I thought Rocky Balboa was a great ending for the series.
I love that last one.
And then Creed came out, and I started seeing the trailers, hearing about it. I was kind of like, what? No. But yeah, it was great.
And then it worked. It worked well. Creed 2 is very much in the vein of Cobra Kai, when they're continuing that Rocky 4 story, which I really did dig that. So, Disenchanted. I don't know if you guys are Enchanted fans. That one dropped. Peter Pan and Wendy. Haunted Mansion, which I feel like they tried Haunted Mansion before with Eddie Murphy a little bit after Pirates of the Caribbean, and I feel like it didn't work.
I don't. Is that it's the same franchise?
Yeah, same franchise. Haunted Mansion.
Is the one you're talking about? Is that with the Muppets?
Is it one? Oh, is there one with the Muppets? There was
one with the Muppets.
Oh, there was a Muppet drop that was coming too. Maybe it isn't.
There's a Muppet movie coming out?
Yes, the Muppet Museum.
The Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the Haunted Mansion. So it's going to be, well, Wayne and I would be driving. I remember where we were driving, Wayne. I think my son was just born and you're in the mini. I was in the minivan that had the DVD player in the black. And like, Wayne, get out. He's like, no, man, you got season 1 of the Muppet Show playing. I'm laughing my ass off back here. That was good.
Can I ask you a question? What is D23 anyway? Like, what? I know the event. Like, I see the updates, but why does it happen? What is it?
I think it's basically their company's announcement. But now that they own so many brands, they're turning it into a Comic-Con.
Like they're starting their own Comic-Con?
Yeah, they're
Disney-Con?
They hijacked Comic-Con, and that's why Feige only did half the announcements and the other half that he saved for D23. But it's supposed to be just for stockholders. But now they're like, no, we can use this hashtag to create internet hype. So it's a little bit of a hijack. And speaking of, they're going to the well. They're going for Mufasa the Lion King, Snow White, The Little Mermaid, IRL too, not animated. These are, so Snow White is going to have Gal Gadot, and The Little Mermaid, I don't know, I'm not familiar with the actress that they booked in there. Halle Berry's going to be in there too.
It is not Halle Berry. I had this. It's
Halle Berry, different.
it's Hale Bailey or something. It's not Halle Berry. I read it the same
what a
way
trick.
before. Yeah,
I got fooled.
yeah.
Because I was like, is that going to be a sequel to Swordfish? Right? The whole fish. There's a. So that's it for the.
Is there an original idea on your list?
Not in that. No, under Walt Disney Studios. No, you are familiar with every property.
Here's the thing. Let's put on a big convention and announce movies that are coming out that already came out 20 years ago.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're relying on. And Pixar was very strict early of that. No, we're not going to do sequels. We have enough creative ideas. And then they started doing sequels. Like, I don't know. That Toy Story 2 was pretty good, though.
I don't know. I like money, though.
Can't believe you like money, too. So, but that's it for the Walt Disney Studio announcements proper. Then we move to Pixar Elemental. So that is looks
Is that
like
Sherlock Holmes?
It's Elemental, my dear Sherlock. First look at Ember and Wade, played by Leia Lewis and Marmaduke Athey from Disney and Pixar. So I don't.
Did you say Marmaduke?
It looks like that was my name, to say the name as fast as possible without insulting any mispronunciations because of my Popeye accent. Pixar may not have released any trailers, but that doesn't mean the studio was lacking. Elemental is a film about the residents of different elements who come together, which premiere on June 16th. So I don't know if that's going to be a takeoff on Captain Planet. He's our hero, going to take pollution down to zero, where the elements come together. Don't know. They also
maybe it's just like the periodic table.
It looks like they're literally going to go for the elements, but
a still shot of the periodic table.
I mean, have Pixar had any misses? The closest you can have. What was their miss?
I mean, I think they've had a lot of misses by this point. They've done like 50 movies.
Yeah,
they're not all Toy Story.
Can't all be winners.
Haven't they,
what about like Cars 2?
off?
Was that good?
Yeah, that's true. Didn't they do Planes, a Cars spinoff?
Yeah, they did like Planes. I mean, there's stuff in there that is not good. Has to be.
Very possible.
Except for Coco, that's great.
Haven't they run off their main creative force?
I thought they did.
I believe the guy that was the driving force creatively, they got rid of him, and he's opened with a new studio.
Yes, he was their Kevin Feige, right?
I think he sexually assaulted somebody. Maybe.
Oh, though.
They're like, get out of here.
Yeah, you better get out of here. Hey, hose that guy off the porch. The toucher. Get him the hell out of here.
Well, that would explain that.
Oh, yep. Last week he got canceled. They released something called, it looks like it's going to be a baseball Pixar movie called Win or Lose. It's a series as with Will Forte as Coach Dan. Will Forte is awesome. Last Man on Earth is one of the most underrated shows that was ever on TV.
That's pretty good.
That should have been up there with Ted Lasso, which is also phenomenal.
I would like to see the Pixar ideas that got rejected.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like an SNL script.
Like what is getting rejected? Because like their concept sounds crazy enough. Like what is not making the cut? I'd like to see those.
Yeah, these people are like elements. Okay, cool. Keep going.
Got it.
Oh, yes. There's another one called Elio, a boy who finds himself transported across the galaxy and mistaken for an intergalactic ambassador for planet Earth. So I remember it took a while to release a Pixar film. Now they're popping out a couple each year. And then finally...
It's about a ham sandwich that goes looking for his father. And he's destined to be king.
How did
what do you
know?
Think?
You're reading Jeff's list, aren't you?
Mario laughs because he knows that. Wayne, I don't know if we told this. We do have a pitch somewhere that is just like, what if a guy turns into a sandwich?
And it started as a VCR.
It started off as a VCR tape and then became a sandwich. Well, how does that happen? I don't know. He goes into a refrigerator and the sandwich says, "Don't eat me," and he defies it and he eats it anyway. It's like, I try to tell you.
Take that shit to Netflix.
And then finally, for the last thing that came up for Pixar, they did go for old reliable. Inside Out 2 was dropped, so that is going to be coming out.
I heard that it's going to be like a teenager.
Oh, yeah. So it's
going to be like really awkward.
Okay. Mario is a human Pixar movie generator. Maybe Pixar should make a movie about that. They just draw each other in the studios like, we need another idea. It's like, go to the Pixar generator. Mario's in the back. It's like, what if the guy's a sandwich?
Better yet, a VCR.
Yeah. All right. And then next up, we had a couple of other Walt Disney animation, which is, I guess, their other in-house animation that's not Pixar. It's had a couple of hits.
Like Snow White, you mean?
No. Oh, yeah, not the OG one. I guess this is their digital or CGI one. So Zootopia Plus is coming out, and a couple of ones I can't. Ijua, Strange World, Wish. So they are sticking to their guns, because when you think of Disney, you do think of animation. Even before Pixar, you're absolutely right. You had, Tugboat Willie or whatever that Mickey Mouse was whistling on the boat. I mean, it goes way back. So they've rolled the dice on a lot of stuff when it comes to animation.
Do they, though? You just named like 20 things that have already been made before.
So now they're just like, well, let's just buy original studios and then make them make our stuff.
Let's make Snow White again.
That's Favreau, man. Like, ever since he made the one, was it Jungle Book? Which one was the big hit where it's just like, let's make our show in real life? And now that's all they do.
Yeah, I mean, why not take the job, right?
Yeah.
Work is work.
Work is work. All right, let's jump. So
I just want to work.
I just want to work.
Have you seen the Snow White pictures, though?
Oh, as Gail Gadot? No.
They do it live action, but it looks like the cartoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that how you
That's
say
something,
her
right?
name?
That's a thing.
That is a thing. What'd you say, Wayne?
Is that how you really say her name? Because I've never heard it before. Is it Gail Gadot?
Gail Gadot? I don't know. That's how I say it. I don't know if that's right or not. Gail Gadot?
I've never
I'm
really
pretty sure
heard
that's
her
right.
or anyone say it. Is it Gadot? I thought it would be Godot, but I don't know. It does look like Gadot.
Maybe it is Godot.
Maybe it is Gadot. You might be right. Obviously, I can't pronounce, because I called Steamboat Willie Tugboat Willie because I had wrestling on the mind. So Mike corrected me out there. Tugboat Willie.
Oh, geez. It's going to start calling it Bugboat Willie.
Bugboat Willie, yeah, because we had two RIPs, but legendary stories with Wichita Willie and Tugboat Taylor. Yep. So somehow I combined Steamboat Willie into Tugboat Willie. Hey, Willie, those pecans and those waffles?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, let's. So we got Wikipedia on the line. Let's jump to the LucasFilms announcement. All right, so we all know Andor comes out. It's delayed. So now it is premiering next week on September 21st with a 3-episode drop. They released the final trailer for that. And I think this one's going to be received really well, because Rogue One is considered probably the best film in the lot of Disney era Star Wars films. You guys agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
They took the one throwaway line in Star Wars about how people made sacrifices to get these plans, and they turned it into a great story. So, and then added a Darth Vader hallway scene. Boom. But I guess the stakes were real, right? So is it going to be affected a little bit knowing how the story ends for Andor? Was he a strong enough character in Rogue One that you're interested in seeing where his story origin was born?
I didn't see the Andor trailer. What's it about?
It's going to show how I think it's going to be pretty much the launch of the Rebel Alliance. We've all had hints around it, right, in the Dave Filoni's Rebels cartoon, and they've touched on it a little bit, but they're going to go back, I believe, to the origin of the Rebel Alliance and how he was one of the big parts of launching that. Leading up into how things ended up to him, how things ended up for him in Rogue One.
Well, I tell you what, in the Rogue One, there's no lightsabers or Jedis or anything like that. Does that work as a series?
That's what we're going to find out, because, yeah, they're likening this to a spy series, an espionage series, the underground takeover of a hostile government more than it is about the Force. It's going to be more about, like Wayne, we always talk about this, This one's going to be more about the wars in Star Wars and less about the Force and the wills.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be gritty. I think it has a different feel. I think the Andor, I think his character is different because he wasn't necessarily likable.
Yeah, good point.
That to me in Rogue One, neither of the lead characters were really likable, and that was cool. And they died. They sacrificed at the end. It wasn't the typical happy send-off to a Star Wars movie. The entire movie just had a different feel, and the stakes were, a little bit higher, a little bit more in your face, and the characters were ugly and dirty, and they weren't. And I just think that this is going to carry that on. At least I hope it does. I hope this is a gritty, a little bit more hardcore of a Star Wars tale, and I'm looking forward to it.
If the trailer is any indication, it's going to basically be that. It's going to take off a prequel version, but that same type of dirty, used universe that was introduced in Rogue One, that came from the OT trilogy. I think we're going to see that, so it is going to be good. Next up from LucasFilms, not Star Wars film, but a Star Wars actor in there. We got Willow. Willow is coming back. It's going to be a series. I think it's going to be because no good IP goes unrevived in the world of Disney. Lucasfilm making a sequel series to the George Lucas produced 88 high fantasy film Willow. The series will begin streaming on November 30th. So we're going to get, I think this is in the future, so we're not going to get the Val Kilmer Mad Mardigan character, but we are going to get the main Willow character he also plays Wicket, and he plays a lot of extras in Star Wars. Were you guys Willow fans?
I remember liking Willow. Remember seeing it often on cable. I couldn't tell you what it was about right now. I don't recall.
Yeah, I remember the same. I remember liking it, and my wife loved it, and so I'm looking forward to it.
I can't picture Val Kilmer in it. I can't visualize him in it.
Mad Mardigan? I just feel like it was one of the main quotes that always stuck in my head, where he's kind of a little bit like a mercenary drunk, but he was a great swordsman, and he had that "you are great" line that always kind of stuck in my head. Even though it had mixed reviews, this was Ron Howard's first foray into Lucasfilms, right? There was always he was on the short list, I believe, with Spielberg for Return of the Jedi, and obviously later on he would take over for Solo. But this was a Lucas Ron Howard production, which was a big deal in 1988. And having Warwick Davis and Billy Barty, so two legendary, little actors. I think this is perfect for a Disney streaming event. Do you want to see Willow 2 in the theater? Probably not. But a Willow series? Yeah, I'm in.
I agree. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be lighthearted, kind of take you away from your worries of the day. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I do want to see, Jay, we're going to need that Val Kilmer cameo. That would be great. Be the hero, die the villain, or be Val Kilmer and watch all of his movies remakes after losing your voice. That is factual, yeah. Oh, looking for an Ewok movie sequel next. Remember the Ewok special on ABC? I feel like that.
They did a couple of movies, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's just as hidden as the Star Wars Christmas special. So I don't know if we get to see that. But yeah, Warwick Davis, he's very synonymous with BTS around Star Wars. Next up actually came with a little bit of bad news and a little bit of good news. So we did get the announcement for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2, but it is delayed until January 4th, which I think...
Of course.
Yeah, they did delay it, but that... But Bad Batch Season 1 was great. It did a really good job of keeping the lore alive with animation. It had the Dave Filoni feel because, there's a reason why Clone Wars and Rebels stay a part of Star Wars canon, because Filoni sat at the learning tree of Lucas, and Bad Batch did a really good job of creating that. And plus to see what happened to the clones after the fall. Right after the fall of the Republic, and then the Empire took over. I mean, I think it's good. And then to have the tie-in with Alpha and Omega with Boba Fett. I just think it was great. But what was also good, Wayne, was the I can't think of the names now, but just the way she said it, right? She said all the names.
Oh, Hunter.
Hunter, not Hunter. It was Hunter.
Was there
Oh,
any Star Wars movies announced?
No, and that was the big deal that they literally made no. And the rumor was they were going to announce the Taika Waititi Star Wars films were next, and they were worried about there was a little bit not negative backlash after Love and Thunder, but it wasn't loved as much as they thought. And I think they're like, okay, let's chill. We're winning with the series still. Let's just stick with that. So no films announced.
I think the backlash was pretty negative. Did you see that clip with Taika Waititi where he was like burying his own movie and like calling out the bad special effects?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like he was so beloved, and then there was a couple of things that came out and made people like asking Natalie Portman is like, I'm going to do a Star Wars movie. Would you like to be in one? Wouldn't that be cool? And she say something about the motherfucking prequels, bitch. So I feel like, yeah, that got a little bit of heat. So they did not announce it. So we're going to have to accept Bad Batch.
Before we move on from Bad Batch, thank you for coming back to it. Did you get emotional when they destroyed Camino?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a huge deal. That was a huge deal for anybody who loved anything to do with the prequels to see such one of the few iconic planets in the George Lucas, lore get destroyed. It was a big deal. It was a huge deal, especially tying into Mandalorian and how they're getting into cloning. You're like, oh, cool. Maybe they're going to go back to that. Nah, we're going to blow that up. I got very emotional. Very emotional.
Oh, that was such a powerful scene. It was like losing a piece of yourself watching that Topoka city being destroyed.
Oh
my goodness.
Yeah. So they pull. Those animated shows do a fantastic job of balancing. Your kids can watch this. This is light-hearted humor, and then, oops, surprise! There's a dark saber through somebody's chest.
Exactly.
So, but the good news that came out of this, bad news was the delay, January 4th. Good news, 16 episodes. That's going to carry us for a while.
Yes.
So, sticking in the animation field, this one is getting a lot of buzz, and they're just shorts. It's called Star Wars Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi.
That's the one I'm waiting for.
Oh, man.
What is that about?
So, Tales of the Jedi will include 6 standalone parable episodes following Ahsoka, Count Dooku in equal measure, and will debut on October 26th. So, we're going to get a young Count Dooku, a young Mace Windu that is going to be voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, and a young Qui-Gon Jinn that is also going to be voiced by Liam Neeson. So, this is going to be very lore heavy, and it's going to keep the canon alive. And you're also going to see the origin stories of arguably a character that is just as important to all of Star Wars that was introduced in an animated version was Ahsoka. And now you're going to get an earlier version of that, and it looks great.
It looks incredible to me.
Yeah.
And I believe that Count Dooku is a very underserved character, and to get to see him as a Jedi Master with a Padawan, I believe that's going to be incredible.
Yeah. And
just it's going to be 3 with Ahsoka and Anakin, and 3 with Dooku and correct?
Yep, exactly.
Have you heard anything? Where they're going with Ahsoka and Anakin?
No, but I did hear that Anakin is going to be in that as well. So you're going to see a lot of the stuff that, obviously they couldn't show every battle in the Clone Wars, but we are going to get that. So I think it's going to be really lore heavy to see how they tie this together. Because right now they're trying to piece all the stories together, and it's very easy to piece the early stuff together, right? Because that's what Lucas did. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Very easy to piece it together. Now the challenge is Filoni. How is he going to tie the fractured sequel trilogy to the original trilogies? Because make no mistake, he has to do that. He's going to have to build that bridge. So it's going to have to be mixing prequel and mixing sequel and finding a way to do that. And I think, Grogu Mandalorian and the stuff that happens with Ahsoka and Andor is going to be what's going to be the bridge that's going to hopefully salvage a little bit to at least make it feel like, yeah, the sequel trilogy is there and make some stuff make sense.
Nice.
And
I have a question for y'all.
Go for it.
You're on a deserted island. You can only have the movies or the animated catalog. Which do you go with?
Oh man. Well, you almost gotta say the animated catalog because you're like that's gonna give you more.
I would go with the animated catalog because I haven't seen that many of them.
Yeah.
I'd have something to watch. I don't watch A New Hope over and over.
Yeah, I think we would have to go with the animated catalog because it's got the mix of the humor, it's got the mix of the series. It touches enough of the lore that you're gonna get that flavor. So I think I would have to go with animated as well.
What if you throw in the live-action TV series with the movies?
He's negotiating now. Oh, man. Oh, Obi-Wan the negotiator.
Well, thus far, there's really only been... Well, I guess we haven't seen some of it, so...
Yeah.
We've only seen Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, which...
And Obi-Wan.
Oh, and Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Oh, oh, man, because now if you're getting the Mandalorian, now it's getting a little bit more interesting because that one, still going back and watching that season 2 finale still gets me choked up. So now I'm a little bit closer to, okay, 6 in the Mandalorian and I'm in. Don't worry about 7 and 8, 9, whatever. Which one would you do, just out of curiosity? Because I know you...
I would go animation all the way.
Yeah. Because I
wouldn't even think about it.
I know you actually, you go back and rewatch a lot of the animated stuff. Because the great thing about the Clone Wars, Bad Batch, all of them, Rebels, is they do have these encapsulated little 3-story arcs. So
yes.
And then they got the standalone episode, but those 3-story arcs are so meaty. And the final season of the Clone Wars was absolutely, positively cinematic. Should have got a theatrical release. When Ahsoka versus Darth Maul was so cinematic that, ironically, the 3 episodes that they released in the theaters a long time ago for Clone Wars that did poorly in there, and like, oh, this animation never works. If you told me, here's free tickets to the sequel trilogy or that 3-episode arc in the final season of Clone Wars, there's no question what you would do. I'd go see it right now in the theaters.
Absolutely. And then you throw in there's the OG Star Wars animated.
Oh yeah, there's
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Remember the one where they introduced General Grievous?
Yeah. Oh yes. So that was the Gene Gendry, the guy who did Samurai Jack, that animated version.
Tartakovsky or something.
Yes. Yeah, that was so good.
You also get the Boba Fett cartoon from the holiday special.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, that
Can't live without that one.
You know, if it wasn't for that, people would totally forget about the Christmas special. But that is the anchor. So, but sticking on that same thoughts, Ahsoka, the live action series, is announced, and they cast Ezra Bridger. Hera's been cast. Sabrine Wren has been cast. So what Ahsoka is turning out to be is the next season of Rebels IRL. And Ahsoka stole the show every time she's been on camera for what? Only 1 episode of The Mandalorian? Or 2, right? One in each season? No, it
was Book of Boba Fett.
It was the Book of Boba Fett, that little Mandalorian block that they had in there. She's become so popular, so I feel like this show, if they're doing what they're talking about doing, and like we're going to use all these shows to anchor, and it's going to lead to an Avengers Endgame type event for the series, this is going to be a big part of that. Let's see. Yep. Independently, Ahsoka will be receiving her own standalone live-action series starring Rosario Dawson, fittingly titled Ahsoka. It has no release date, but it is coming out in 2023, and the showrunner is going to be the Padawan himself, who's now the master. The Lunar has become the master. Dave Filoni is going to be the showrunner for this, too. He's very protective of the Ahsoka character.
And should be.
Yeah, and he should be. So, all stuff that we do know. But here's something.
Do you think that one's going to be more like The Mandalorian or more like Book of Boba Fett?
It's going to be more like The Mandalorian, without a doubt. If Dave Filoni's running
I
it,
agree.
it's going to blow Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan out of the water without even trying. Which is
agree.
Which is kind of ironic. Everybody was looking so forward to seeing what happened to Obi-Wan after that, or what happened to Boba Fett, and Ahsoka's going to blow him out of the water.
Well, it looks like with Obi-Wan, they took like the Obi-Wan movie script and just turned it into a show. They Netflixed it, as you could say. They stretched it out into a series when it was really just like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Yep. And you definitely did feel that, because there was great stuff that was in there, and then there was the stuff that was not so great that made it in there that shouldn't have. So I don't even know. There was no announcement of a season 2 of Boba Fett, even though there's a rumored version and there's a rumored of more Obi-Wan, but nothing was announced. What was announced is something that we don't know anything about in the Star Wars universe, and it's Star Wars: The Skeleton Crew. Not much info about this. What were they going to be seeing other than Jude Law is going to be the star, giving off Big Dad energy based on this new pick that's on there. So I have no idea what this is going to be about. Do you think this is going to be the spinoff of Clerks 3 of showing all the contractors working on the Death Star?
Are they going to do the Kevin Smith gimmick where it's like the contractors working on the Death Star?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
That would be brilliant. They should go ahead and do that.
That's the only thing I can think of, Wayne. I don't know if you heard anything about this at all. All I know is they announced it and it's going to be coming out and Jude Law's in it.
I have not heard anything.
No. Yeah, so it'd be interesting. So sometimes it's nice because this is as close as you can get to original property within an IP. So it's like, okay, we found this corner of the universe that's only going to touch on it, but it's kind of original even though it's a known IP. That's the closest dice roll they're going to get.
Look, Adam says they should do a Troops series. Did you see Troops?
Oh, Troops. That's a deep cut Troops. So yeah, Troops was fantastic. Wait, do you remember?
That was one of the early fan films. Did they have fan films before that?
And that's the thing. I mean, everybody knows, like, growing up, you knew Hardware Wars just as much as you knew Star Wars. Like, he encouraged fan films because he was a film student. He did the same thing. So Troops was great.
Hardware Wars was great.
Hardware Wars, Ham Salad, Fluke Starbucker.
I'm trying to think of the names of the rest of them. Artie Deco.
Artie Deco. That was it. Augie Bendagi. Oh man, Wayne, do you remember Hardware Wars and or Troops?
I do not, and I'm feeling very left out. Right now.
Really? Not even Hardware Wars?
I feel like I've missed something special now.
Oh man, because Hardware Wars. So they had
Let me see if I can find an image.
Yeah, Chewbacca was actually played by basically a tan version of Cookie Monster. I forgot what the name was.
Oh, right. It was Cookie Monster.
Yeah. Augie Bendagi. I got to find some of the 4Q2. 4Q2! Oh, let's see what some of the cast names here. Artie Deco played himself, 4Q2, Fluke Starbucker, Augie Bendagi, Princess Anne Droid. Instead of Han Solo, they had Ham Salad. And I remember there was a VHS that had 4 different movies, different shorts.
And like Bambi versus Godzilla.
Bambi versus Godzilla and a take on Apocalypse Now. And it was something to do with I don't know if it's politically correct anymore, but that was also the 4th one on there. And it was
I can't pull an image, but here's Hardware Wars.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh wait, Wayne's not even watching on the internet.
Oh, you can't see
Watch this show later and you'll see these images.
Hardware Wars.
Okay, I gotta know who did the job, Bambi or Godzilla?
Oh, dude! Oh my God! It was a squash match. It's exactly what you expect. They played nice, pretty music, and Bambi was eating. Bambi versus Godzilla, squash match over. Godzilla just stepped on Bambi. And it was
Oh my God!
blood splatter and everything.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, so that was good stuff. And then Troops was something a little bit later that came out before even feel like YouTube was big, right? It was just the stormtroopers if they were in the show Cops. Porkless.
Stormtrooper
Yes,
cops. Stormtrooper cops is exactly it.
I have got to find this. My life will not be complete without this.
Yeah. No, you definitely have to see that for sure. So that was good stuff. But I'd love to see Troops because Troops was really good too. So that would be a good one. Last thing that we're going to see in the Lucasfilm announcements was The Mandalorian Season 3, with the bad news also being that it is going to be delayed.
What the hell is taking them so long?
Which is weird because, like you said, they paid Robert to basically make a small show in the sand behind there with some old toys.
Use the leftover props and shoot it behind the garage.
And they could have just used these episodes that they had, and they could have been like, no, now we're done. But I don't know if you watched that last trailer yet, but here's the hint. Let's see if you can guess, because I know you're not a sequel trilogy fan, but they are bringing back one of the most popular characters from the sequel trilogy. Droid is ready!
Yes.
What is that?
That is Babu Frick.
Oh, Babu Frick.
Babu Frick. I feel like no matter what, Babu Frick did get over.
Yes.
Yes, Babu Frick did get over, so we don't know if it's going to be...
That's sad that's one of the high spots.
That is one of the high spots for sure.
Pretty much the biggest thing of that one.
Oh.
What is the last one called? Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's probably the only good thing that came out of it, as far as I've heard.
Yeah. And the other character is going to be in there is the little... Wayne, I don't know the name of the species of the one that sat on Jabba the Hutt's tail. And he would just laugh. He was basically just an internet troll.
Yes, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, on the species name. And then we saw him later on, not in the prequel trilogy. We saw them somewhere where they were on a spike and they were getting cooked. Where in this version, there was a bunch of them sitting in a tree. So don't get me wrong. Disney still knows that Star Wars is made for the merchandise. So they're bringing back some of those popular ones. But... everybody's ready. I think Grogu and Mando could be the savior of the series as far as like the sequel series, because it's going to get to the point that everybody's going to care about that timeline more than they're going to care about the sequel trilogy. They know they're going to have to tie it together, and they've already hinted to with the cloning, and they touched on, whoa, was that, what's his name, floating in the tank, Snoke. So they already touched on that. They're going to touch on it. But if they just focus on Mando and Grogu, I think people are going to maybe forget about it. Oh, JJ said
what do you mean getting to care more about it? I already do.
I meant getting to people to forget about the other one. The sleight of hand trick. Look at this cool trick I can do.
If someone figures that out, I wish they would tell me.
Jedi mind trick. This isn't the trilogy you're looking for. Move along.
I wish someone would pull that on me.
Yes. So, I think it's going to be. I expect a ratings bonanza for Disney Plus on getting Mando season 3, because even with people having some heat with Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, it still got the clicks, but everybody still loves Baby Yoda. And I take that back. There was one more announcement. That was a Lucasfilms project. Indiana Jones 5. There's no telling who looked happier, me watching Indiana Jones or Phoebe Waller-Bridge together with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom co-stars Harrison Ford and Ke-Huy Quan, who reunited after 38 years.
Is Short Round back? Is he in the new movie?
They're making it seem like Short Round is going to be in 5.
He has to be at this point if he's not in it. They're going to shoot a cameo at this point.
Yeah, he's super over. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once got him way back into the zeitgeist, and he's such a... You just like watching him on screen. There's just something about him that Max. So bringing him back in, right? Because you know him as Short Round, Data, and then there wasn't anything beyond that. So to go back to one of these iconic characters, I'm all for it. And I was not Harrison Ford. I thought maybe they're going to recast it or come up with a clever way of continuing the story. But this will do. Give me Short Round. I'm in. Maybe make Short Round the new Indiana Jones version, right?
Harrison Ford has been adamant that there's going to be no new Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Indy, and that's it.
Yeah.
There is no other Indy. You don't recast it. You're not going to recast me.
Yeah. And He's pretty scary, so I can see him. He seems like the kind of guy that would still punch a producer.
Have you seen that clip where David Blaine does magic in his house? No. David Blaine does like some close-up magic, and Harrison Ford's just like, get the fuck out of my house.
And it was probably for a shoot. It's like, this guy's serious? Oh, man. Oh, JJ just came up with the names, too. Would you not go buy a movie ticket for a movie called Short Round Jones?
I'm in for Short Round Jones.
Yeah, Short Round Jones is a great title. JJ, you need to copyright that URL immediately, because I think that's a great title. All right, so that's it for the Star Wars stuff. Let's go one more real quick. We'll go through the Marvel Studios announcements. We'll touch on the new ones. We already knew Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. They had some stage announcements that just showed more of the cast. If you were live in person, you got some more footage, but that's a movie that you don't need to see more footage of. We're all going to see that. Ironheart, which is coming out, and actually that's going to be not a spinoff, but one of the characters that's going to be introduced in Wakanda Forever. Riri Jones is going to be showing up in Ironheart, which is going to be a streaming event. We got, this was the big one, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I think we're now at the stage where you have to have, we were talking about this a few shows back, you have to have some of these OGs, Wayne, what we called giving the rub, right? You need some of the vets to give the rub to some of the new people. And I think that's what's going to be happening here with Ant-Man and the Wasp, because this is going to be our first official look at Kang the Conqueror, not He Who Remains, which is a version of Kang the Conqueror. This is going to be the Kang the Conqueror that is going to be the Thanos of the multiverse saga. Are you guys excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania?
I am. I'm hoping it's going to focus, what is this, Phase 4?
Yeah, this is still part of Phase 4, yep.
Yeah, I'm
sorry, no, this is going to be in Phase, this is going to be, I think this might hit in Phase 5. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, where there's a lot of heat, and we were trying to figure it out if this was the pandy or not. That Phase 4 was very all over the board with a lot of experimental stuff and what's part of the series. It was a rebuilding phase for sure, where to the point where Multiverse of Madness barely had any multiverse.
I hope that, though, I believe they're getting taken on a little bit too much heat, because to me, the lack of focus could stem from the aftermath of Thanos snapping the finger, then the snap comes back, and then half the original Avengers are dead or lost to time, and it feels like it would be a time of chaos. And I think they took a little bit too much heat for that, but I think it's definitely time to refocus and get things back on track, and I'm hoping that's what's about to happen.
And like for a shoot, we've talked about it before. This is just an actual thing. Is like everything got disrupted by the pandy, and that really changed how they were making movies. And it got harder to make a movie, and it got more expensive.
Yes.
And you had to write around certain things. You just had to make stuff up. And I think a lot of films suffered because of that. And I think right now they're kind of out of movies. There's like nothing coming out until Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
So just that there was a lot of things that got limited. Movies take a couple years to make, so we're in that lull
of this big scale. Yeah,
I think that's a great point, Mario, and I think people just don't understand the difficulty in putting together a production like that under the pandemic.
It was very difficult. A lot of reshoots, a lot of endings that had to be retooled, which kind of threw everything off, like we knew for Captain America and Winter Soldier and Wanda. They did that. Their endings were definitely affected because their original, Doctor Strange was going to be in WandaVision originally and set up for Multiverse of Madness, and he didn't get to be in there. So I think they're ready for Phase 4 to go behind them, which ends with Wakanda Forever, and then leading into Phase 5. Think they're ready to, all right, let's knock this into second gear. And I think introducing Kang, and you're going to have MODOK on there, and Ant-Man being close to one of the OGs and being a popular Avenger, I think is going to be just what the doctor ordered.
Yes.
Next up, we have the pleasant surprise that we talked about a little bit, just a holiday special, Werewolf by Night. The trailer I highly suggest you check it out. It's a hyper-stylized Halloween special starring Gail Garcia Bernal, and the special will debut on Disney in a couple of weeks, October 7th. Just the quick bio line of it is: a secret group of monster hunters gather at Bloodstone Castle following the death of their leader and engage in a mysterious and deadly competition for a powerful relic which will bring them face to face with a dangerous monster. Do you remember? It wasn't Death Race 2000, it was Escape 2000, and I think the original title was Turkey Shoot, of like when they were on an island and they were just hunting out prisoners. I love the idea that they're just going to send these people out and you're going to hunt one of the monsters, but then you're going to get that shoot to kill vibe, which I like to reference all the time with Sidney Poitier of like...
You do reference shoot to kill a lot.
What you need me to do is guide you through those mountains. It was such a great movie, but having to have these 5 people going through this trail and knowing the audience knows that one of them is the heel, but they don't know that one of them is the heel. And that's what this is going to be. There's a monster amongst this hunting group, and you don't know who it is. The audience knows, but the characters don't, and I feel like that keeps you on the edge of your seat. And yes, go see Shoot to Kill. Wayne, have you, we were talking a little bit about the Midnight Suns, how this has a little bit of a tie-in there. I think this is a great direction for Marvel to go. They're about to introduce Blade. She-Hulk last week had the beginnings, hints of a possible... Ghost Rider in there with a name drop in there. I think
Tommy Blaze?
Yeah, it was Donnie Blaze instead of
Blaze.
Johnny Blaze, which greatly played by Billy Walsh from Entourage. I think it's great. I want to see... I was very disappointed when the Universal Monster Cinematic Universe did not work because the Mummy bombed right out of the gate and we lost... We had Dr. Jekyll and Hypnotist. I wanted that. I love Abbott and Costello meets, Dracula and Frankenstein. I wanted that, and it didn't work. Marvel can do that with the Midnight Suns.
I agree. Have you heard anything? Are they going to introduce the Hellstrom character, Damien Hellstrom?
I think
Son of Satan.
This is going to be the first hints of it. So I don't know if this is just going to be a kickoff, but we don't know where Blade. We don't know when Blade is going to be popping up. So I feel like he's going to be the first one they introduce, but I think they're going to start hinting at these kids. So you're going to get heavily hints of the lore of the direction it's going with one episode that's going to last a little bit less than an hour.
Yeah. And Moon Knight was in Midnight Suns.
Moon Knight, yes, that was the other one that he was part of this, and they obviously just introduced him and didn't really tie him into any lore. That would be great if they somehow find a way to tie Moon Knight into this right now. So I love it. Go for it. Go a little bit darker. Go for that weird universe for sure. Mari, you didn't watch it yet, right?
It has a totally different feel. It'll be fresh content.
The black and white, the use of shadows, the little bit of noir, the little bit of Bela Lugosi, the little bit of Grindhouse. I feel like they did a really good job with this trailer.
Yeah, the trailer was good. I liked it. I did not watch Moon Knight, but I'm a little behind on Marvel content, but I kind of just been saving it up. I'm catching up on She-Hulk. I'm into She-Hulk now. Okay, sure. Smashable. Smashable. But do you know what I really liked? Was the new She-Hulk trailer. That kind of sold me. It's like, okay, I'll watch the rest of the season. Did you see the new trailer?
No, I haven't seen the new trailer dropped. I'll have to check that out. But I've always been a mark for She-Hulk, and I know people, leaning into the comedy. I think people... Again, this has to do with being starved. When was the last Marvel movie that really moved you? We went from starved for Marvel content, and then we just got all these little teases that we haven't been moved yet. Remember, the challenge was we need to create a villain as dark and as iconic as Darth Vader. And mission accomplished. Thanos is in the zeitgeist. Everybody knows Thanos. You can talk about the snaps. He didn't start off strong with those little trailer releases, but his movies, they're almost a victim of their success that people are like, I want to feel moved again like that. And we haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah. They got to build to that. Look, Adam says, I want a West Coast Avengers series.
Oh, West Coast Avengers would be a good one,
They've got the White Vision already ready to go. Who else is in West Coast Avengers?
I don't know, because is that different from the Young Avengers?
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
It is different. West Coast Avengers, the original was... Hawkeye, Mockingbird, who he ended up marrying, Power Man, or Wonder Man,
Wonder Man, yes, Wonder Man.
And it was Vision, Scarlet Witch. So
yeah,
they opened a West Coast division, so it was interesting. They had
Moon Knight,
other
Scarlet
characters
Witch,
floating out.
Hawkeye,
Seems like
Vision.
Seems like Tigra was there at one point. It was interesting. It had a different feel from the mainline Avengers comic.
They should do that.
A lot of players already in place to do that too. Wonder Man getting a show. Oh, Wonder Man is getting a show. That's cool. JJ broke that right here on the show, so that'll be good. Yeah, I'm all in for that. I say people want to be moved. I'm right there with them. I want to be moved. Next up is Secret Invasion. So that's going to be a series, and you're getting Samuel L. Jackson. You're going to get the payoff from that post-credit scene in Captain Marvel of this Kree and Skrulls, the invasion. But you're going to get a series, and it's going to be great. And they're pulling back a lot of people, right? They're bringing back Don Cheadle. Martin Freeman's coming back. Ben Kingsley is coming back, too. And then you're getting Emilia Clarke, Colby Smulders. I think that's going to be great. I love the idea of anybody could be anybody at any time. And then I want to find out, we never really got a Nick Fury movie. You know, he was the glue that kind of weaved through the whole Avengers initiative. And then you have a big drop that he's in space. How long has he been in space? How long has somebody else been playing him? I think this is going to be really good. And that trailer they dropped I think that was a successful trailer.
Solid trailer. I liked it.
Yeah. Wayne, I know. What did you get to see the trailer on that yet? The Secret Invasion?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I thought it had a good feel. I thought it set the tone. It's going to be, a really intense, which fits the Nick Fury character. I think it looks great.
I think if they're smart, they're going to lean into like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yes,
Have
that's
you seen
what
that
I
recently?
want.
Like I watched that a couple months ago. The Donald Sutherland one. Man, holds up. Awesome.
That ending still sticks to me. I mean, it's one of the best gifts you go to. Just like his slow. I mean, that sticks with you. It was one of the endings. Like, am I too young to be watching this? And still talking about it to this day. That ending that really stuck with you. So, So if they do that, they're in. And I know there's a switch. And Wayne, you know more about the Kree and the Skrull than I do. I know there might have been a switch of who was actually the baby faces and who the heels are from the comic versus what they are going to be in the show.
Yes.
So I don't know. But yeah, we'll be there. And then leading into, speaking of Don Cheadle, Armor Wars, he's going to be getting a Disney Plus series as well. We're going to see how that turns out. I'm not sure. Like, I feel like War Machine's always great, and it's always good to see him around, right? He's one of the team. Can he main event? Don Cheadle's a fantastic actor, so we know the actor can, but War Machine by himself, can he be the main event of his own series? This is the one that I'm not sure about.
That'll be interesting because War Machine and the Iron Man, so it's even in the comic book, he always just seems second rate. So this will be interesting to see if he can pull it off.
Yeah, and he was already dealing with, the actor switcheroo. That was one of the few casting, the cast switch. So I feel like he's already one film behind because he wasn't part of the original film. So I feel like Hulk suffered a little bit of that too, which She-Hulk gave a nice shout out to that. It's like, I'm a different person now, literally.
Do the fucking voice.
Listen, Don Cheadle, he's a fantastic actor and he's a good friend of mine, okay? So we're going to just watch his series and we're all going to love it, okay? That's my attempt at Mark Ruffalo.
That's a solid Ruffalo. No one's doing a Ruffalo impression.
Yeah, so we're just going to do a tour for a Ruffalo impression.
Mario, quick little aside. Mine and Jeff's first match ever was against each other. Jeff showed up with a new haircut. He went to a hair salon and he had a bubblegum card of the Hulk with his new haircut, and he said, "Do this."
Proof. I told Mario, I was like, I've been a mark for him for so long, and
Which Hulk?
It was the Hulk that he went with just the top knot. Well, not the top knot, but it was a top ponytail, very Quicksilver. So he went through a 90s phase where shaved all the side of his head, just had hair on the top, and then a ponytail at the top.
You wore giant Jinko jeans.
Yes, I did.
Oh, wait, that was your gimmick.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, man. Yes, I marked out for Hulk. Still do to this day. Next up was one that it's going to be the first Marvel show that actually gets a season 2. Loki. Season 2 is coming. And speaking of Short Round, that's right. They announced that he is also going to be acting in that as well. Coming back Owen Wilson, of course, Tom Hiddleston as well.
I love it, but it's such corporate business guy thinking.
Yeah.
He was in another movie about multiple dimensions. So
oh my God, that's right. There it is.
Who can we get?
It's like, well, they made a better multiverse movie than us. Well, then book them. Book them. Oh man, yeah, and everybody loves Tom Hiddleston, right? He's the MJF of Marvel. That his heel character was so popular that sorry, we're gonna cheer you. You can't stop us. Because everybody just loved the trickster. So, and I think this is going to be really important. And Mike, I don't know if you're still on, but you can get into the lore of how important the Loki series is going to be to the entire multiverse saga. Because I talk about this with my son. What is the difference between a multiverse and a timeline? And we're going to need Loki to explain that. Next up, we just had a small announcement. Nothing coming of it other than the first family of Marvel, Fantastic Four, is going to have its first film on November 8th, 2024, with no announcement of casting and or directors. Wayne, are you caught up on spoiler? Like, did you already watch Multiverse of Madness?
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of know the Jim from The Office as Mr. Fantastic. So the rumor was for a while, it's like, yeah, just book him in the same role again. And then obviously Emily Blunt is his wife, so she's a perfect Sue Storm, and he can be the director because obviously he's a great director. If you've seen A Quiet Place, you know he can do it. But then there's a push to like, no, sorry, is he a victim of pro wrestling that he did the job and he looked too weak, and now they're like, well, now we got to book somebody else. What do you think?
I mean, they turned him into spaghetti and he exploded. You think he would have signed on if he knew that was going to be his finish?
Yeah, there was. He's the smartest man in the world. And
was that a Sam Raimi thing? Or who came up with that? Is the way to beat Mr. Fantastic is to turn him into spaghetti and then blow him up.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, they definitely got Scarlet Witch over as a monster heel, turning Jim from The Office into spaghetti. I mean, it did the job, but did it help the Fantastic
Exploding
Four?
Spaghetti.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm okay with if they book him to bring him back, and I'd like a little bit of a redemption tour, but with the way the multiverse is playing, we haven't seen a multiverse officially like book somebody new. Like, of course, the old characters are going to be different from the new characters, but just to have them for one and done, I don't know how that's going to get over. And this is too important. The Fantastic Four, it's amazing that how much Marvel has done without the X-Men and Fantastic Four, how important they are into the entire brand, that they've done so much without them. I think now that they have them, they have to do, there's a lot of pressure to do it right.
Well, I mean, I think there's going to be multiple Fantastic Fours, or at least Mr. Fantastics. Yeah. Isn't Kang a Mr. Fantastic?
Yeah, he's a version of Reed Richards. He's a variant or an old... he's somehow related to him for sure. He's a variant of Reed Richards, I believe.
I think they'll book a new young Fantastic Four for whatever, 616. But John Krasinski's exploding spaghetti Mr. Fantastic will still be out there somewhere.
Floating around. But Wayne, am I misspeaking? Like how important Reed Richards is to the franchise?
No. He's interwoven in so much of the lore. I can't believe it's taken them this long to get to them. And even more unbelievable is the hold up on the X-Men.
Yeah. That's unreal that I feel like they're waiting so long.
And I mean, I don't want to jump your list here, but there's talk of doing Secret Wars before they do X-Men. How is that even possible?
Well, I heard about
part
this.
of that, right? Yeah.
I heard that there's a reason, and it's actually stuff. If this is true, there's clauses built into their Fox contracts. They can't be recast until like 2025 or something. Like they were contracted in for like, I guess when Fox was making those films, they assumed they would make them forever. So they locked folks in. So the contracts that they ended up absorbing,
I didn't know that.
they can't recast them legally. So they have to use them for like Secret Wars, possibly, maybe more, but they can't, it has to wait till after that.
Well, that's a good answer. I didn't know that. Unbelievable.
That could be all just internet bullshit, but it makes sense.
Buy them out of the contract? Because to me, it would be worth it if it was, not absolutely ridiculous, but to move forward. To me, Fantastic Four is huge, but to me, X-Men is to be moving forward without the X-Men is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they probably could if they wanted to, because Disney owns the contracts that they're honoring, right?
Right.
But they'd have to give whatever the dude who plays Nightcrawler, buy him out of his contract, or they could just turn him into exploding spaghetti in the next movie.
I say book them, man. I say book them. People look at Cobra Kai. They honor the series so well by booking the same actors to come back and reprise their roles. If you want to do a mutant saga all by itself and start fresh, fine. But for Secret Wars, bring them back. Break out some of that Goofy money. Break out some of that Tugboat Willie money and pay Hugh Jackman to come back to be Wolverine again, man.
I think
just
we'll
for
get
one
it.
more time. Just one more time.
That match is there. They got to book it.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
You got to have it. You finally have the opportunity to have Deadpool and Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, on the same screen. If you just do it once, this is your opportunity.
I mean, they should do that for the next Deadpool. Just go Deadpool and Wolverine. Just do it.
Oh man,
you can afford it. Just make that movie, and then whatever. Then Hugh Jackman can retire. We all will respect. Logan was great, but you can do the Deadpool movie. No one's going to get offended.
Yeah. Now, especially now that we've introduced multiverse, you're like, yeah, that was very cool what you did in that universe. He died, but this is a different one where we're going to do cool shit. You're in. Here's a boatload of money.
It's easy.
Here's a Tugboat Willie full of money. Come get your stuff.
It
Go get your stuff.
Comes back. It always comes back to Tugboat
Willie. All right. Next up, we have Echo. So Echo is going to be a spinoff of Hawkeye. We were introduced to the Echo character in here, but there's bigger news from that, and it's going to be great. But I don't know much about it other than they're bringing back Wilson Fisk. He's going to be in there. But the big announcement is after that panel, and that show it didn't give a date. It said mid-2023, but after that panel, Vincent D'Onofrio, one of my other doppelgangers, stayed on the stage, and he's like, "Wait a minute, Kevin. Aren't you going to talk about my show?" And then the crowd popped. And then Charlie Cox's voice came on. And he's like, "Don't you mean my show?" And the people lost it. Went apeshit, got the Road Warrior pop. And then they announced Daredevil Born Again is coming back for a monster amount of episodes. It's coming back. Not too much to report, except they officially sort of confirmed that the Netflix Marvel universe is variants. So even though it's going to be the same actors, it is a different universe. So he's like, don't expect the same Daredevil, but expect that we are going to honor the lore of Daredevil.
So is Iron Fist coming back?
That's all I want to know.
Nobody asked that, right?
That's all anybody wants to know. It's like, cool, you booked that. And it's like, oh, we got this free copy of More Better Blues. It's free? Yeah, no thank you.
One kid at the D23 and the Iron Fist cosplay was just like,
"Aww." Wayne, you're a fan of Daredevil, like the comic? Obviously the Netflix series was fantastic, but did you read the comic too?
Some. It wasn't one of the main ones that I got every month, but I did read a few here and there.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think he works really well. He's a little bit more relatable. He bridges the world of having these fantastic powers, but yet he's still considered a street-level hero.
I agree.
Yeah, so
I agree. And that was what was so fresh about Hawkeye was we got off the cosmic level where the entire universe is in danger and got back to the neighborhood.
oh yeah, which we need. We need that, like you were talking about early. We need those breathers. We need different corners where it's not the entire universe on the line. It's just maybe, a gang of thugs with weapons, space weapons that they don't know how to handle.
It's
Bunch
all
of
about
dudes
the
with
roller
just
coaster
jeans
ride.
and mohawks and power tools.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, so I think that's going to be good. Well, we're going to find out. I know this. I know this isn't too much of a spoiler because it was in the trailer, but obviously Daredevil is going to be making some kind of appearance in She-Hulk, which makes sense. But I think something bigger is going to happen. Fingers crossed for Jessica Jones. We don't know. That hasn't been confirmed, but we know for sure at least Daredevil will be making some kind of appearance if the trailer is to be believed. But it's like a 19 episode order for Daredevil Born Again.
I think that is multiple seasons.
Yeah, it has to be.
It's not one 19 episode season.
Oh, no, so it's going to be different. Okay.
That's broken. That's the multiple season order, whatever it's going to be.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, do that. Like, show us half, give us a break, and then bring it back. I'm all for it. Next up, we got New World Order. Captain America 4 is officially called New World Order, coming off the heels of Captain America and Winter Soldier. But the big news here is after we just got to witness the Abomination return from the Edward Norton Hulk, we are getting Tim Blake Nelson coming back as the leader, also from the Edward Norton Hulk, and he's going to be the main heel in Captain America 4. They needed some kind of buzz because I don't think that series was enough to get Anthony Mackie sold as somebody who can carry a film by himself yet. I feel like they need to get at least one more person in there.
He's definitely not over.
No, I don't think it, like, again, by no fault of his own, maybe it was just because of the pandy, but Wayne, what do you think? Can he carry a film by himself yet?
I don't know, and I don't know why. I agree with what y'all were saying. It doesn't feel like he can, but I don't know why. He's not a terrible actor.
No, yeah, it's not his performance.
Did they just not give enough, background to make you care? I mean, they touched on it in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I just don't feel like I have a reason to care for that character.
I think I'm going to stick to my old theory, which I've said multiple times. I think all those shows were not even finished when they put them on Disney. I think that they all got they had hard stops because of the pandy, so they had to just piece it together in editing. It's like, here's the show. The first, especially in WandaVision, because it's like the first 2 episodes just feel like stock footage. They just used they just. When you see a movie, sometimes there'll be like a sitcom on TV, but they'll actually film the sitcom and it'll be on the special features disc, right?
Yeah.
It's like in WandaVision, they shot that, but they were like, let's just make these actual episodes. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know if you've heard this, Wayne, but the primary storyline on Falcon and Winter Soldier was going to be that there's a major outbreak. Right? There was some sort of outbreak, and that was the main thing. So they, in the last minute, they had to change everything. They reshot it. I don't know what it was supposed to be originally, but I think that those two series just were not finished.
Yeah, and you felt that. You felt like there was a gap. And it made you, like JJ said, he has it, but he doesn't got it. He definitely can do it. He basically didn't even pick up the shield to almost the last episode, so you weren't even there yet. It didn't have enough of an emotional build of what he left off with on Endgame. Was just like, how does it feel? It feels like it's somebody else's. That was big. That was a huge moment. And then just seeing him throwing the shield and discuss, it was there. Maybe it needed more episodes. Maybe it needed something. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see them introduce some elements that are going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to see it, but it's not there yet. You can't just say new Captain America and people are going to go check.
Also, he's not on the juice.
Yeah, he's not. Oh,
he's
yeah,
not on the juice.
Serum.
I feel like that's a problem for him. Doesn't that make him a little less interesting? Sorry.
Yeah.
Not to be a peer pressure kind of guy.
No, I think that's honest.
Take the juice.
There's a Wayne. You told me about. There's a great storyline with Steve Rogers going through that. Where who wasn't Wayne that you told me one of the characters like, no, you're nothing without that serum, and he found a way to take the serum out of his body to prove that he was still an able hero.
I can't remember. It was almost like a psychic. Was his name Nomad? Or no, that was who. Maybe, no, I think Nomad was Steve Rogers when they gave Captain America title to the U.S. agent. I can't remember, but there was a character, and they were in Avengers Mansion, and I think they were training or something, and he, I guess he lost, and he said, this is coming from a guy who's basically on a souped up steroid. I don't want to hear about what a hero you are. You're on steroids and you're nothing without that. And he sought out a way to filter it out of his blood.
Yeah. Yep. And
so I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. Is that a problem? The visual? I mean, do they need to get Anthony Mackie on the gas?
Just to give him the look.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, the Marvel
Everybody.
That's all you had me at everybody. So it'll be interesting, but it's still new. I'm glad they are moving forward with the story, but I guess if they get nervous at the last second, it's like, oh, an old man Cap is going to make an appearance, and like, okay, yeah, I'll go check it out.
Yeah,
because we all know the Marvel film that everybody wants, and it could just be a standalone special, 5 episodes. We all want to see Captain America bring back each one of the Infinity Stones. We all want that. Like,
yeah, they can hang on to that one.
Yeah, that's the one everybody wants. Next up, we had Meet the Thunderbolts. They announced the new lineup of the Thunderbolts, and there was a lot of speculation to this, and I'm pretty happy with this lineup. I know everyone's expecting Abomination, but you got Julia Louis-Dreyfus coming back as Val. You got David Harbour coming back as Red Guardian, who was great in Black Widow. You got Wyatt Russell coming back as John Walker, the U.S. agent, which is he was the best part of Falcon and Winter Soldier when we saw that.
I disagree.
You didn't like it?
It was Baron Zemo's dance.
Oh, Baron Zemo's dance, yes. And that's why a lot of people are upset. I don't know, Mike, if you're still on there. Baron Zemo was supposed to be part of this, and maybe he still will be. We still got hopes, but yeah, that was fantastic. Then we have Ghost, Hannah John Carmen, who was that was Ant-Man and the Wasp. Florence Pugh coming back as Yelena, she was basically the new Black Widow, right? Is how I took it. And then Olga Kolorenko as Taskmaster, who didn't get over very well in Black Widow. And then to put the explanation point of somebody familiar, Sebastian Stan is coming back as Bucky Barnes. How do you guys feel about that lineup as the Thunderbolts? Because the artwork made it very much look like this is going to be their Suicide Squad.
Is that what they are?
That's how I take it as, right? Because they're all kind of anti-heroes and kind of throwaways. So I think that's how they're going to.
Is this a series or a movie? This is a series.
This is going to be a film.
This is a film.
Yeah, this is going to be a film.
I don't know. Who's the draw there?
I think all is one, right? I think it's just.
I mean, no, it'd have to be Yelena Belova, right? I mean, who's?
She's front and center next to Bucky and the Red Guardian. She's front.
It'd have to be her.
Are you talking about for star power as far as
for star? I mean, if you make a movie, you got to have star power.
Yeah,
someone's got to be the person that they're like gets people in seats. Someone's got to have that appeal, that crossover, broad appeal, where it's just like, oh, that person's in a movie. I would like to go to there. You know what I mean?
Yes, I would like to go to there. There's your 30 Rock deep cut. Yeah, I mean, Florence Pugh's
getting over. You need that for a movie. You need that
absolutely. You need the Wayne. Remember the Bobby Zadar, right? We need a face for the box. We need a face for the box.
Exactly.
So does Florence Pugh have that yet? I'm tired of fucking around, Jeffrey.
Possibly.
Yeah. David Harbour, can he carry, from a Stranger Things steam?
I don't think he's got that kind of appeal, but I mean, he's definitely got a following.
Sebastian Stan, I guess those are the three. Like, he's been part of this for a long time. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I guess you can say if she has the name, but she's on the back of the line. So she's not even there. So it's going to be interesting.
She'll bring in the Seinfeld fans, I guess. What?
What's the deal with the Red Guardian guy?
She better do that dance
Are we
in the
with
movie.
Russia now? Oh, yeah, the dance.
But I mean, I don't know. To me, it feels like a weak lineup. I don't know. I'm not sold on that.
Wayne, were you familiar with the original Thunderbolts?
No.
No? Okay.
Them or the Champions. I know Hercules was in the Champions, but I never saw them in a comic. I mean, I heard people talk about them and stuff, but I never saw them. But the Thunderbolts, who's the heel?
Society.
Yes, societies. Yeah.
Society.
Well, I mean,
who are they being assembled to take out?
right, and that's what made me feel like it's going to be a Suicide Squad, because the heel was like, Thunderbolt Ross has always kind of played the heel, and they're also in a little bit of trouble because that was played by William Hurt, who now passed away, and he was going to be the driving force. So I made it feel like William Hurt was going to be the Amanda Waller for the Suicide Squad, but we don't know who they're trying to take out yet. So you're absolutely right. This might really be...
Who is assembling them?
So originally it was Val, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus, right? Because they showed her recruiting U.S. Agent, and they showed her recruiting new Black Widow. So she's made those appearances. So.
They're gonna. I have a feeling they'll be gathered together, and they'll be like, "Okay, here's your mission. You need to capture all these people who defaulted on their student loans."
Student loan at the police. That's like the library police. You know what they call people who don't return library books?
What?
Criminals. There's your Seinfeld deep cut. So I think, I agree. I think with you guys, this might behoove it to have a trailer. And then the last one that we had announced, I think is going to be pretty divisive because the first one didn't get over as well as they expected it to, is going to be technically Captain Marvel 2, but suspiciously missing from the title is any mention of saying Captain Marvel 2. It just says The Marvels, and it's going to introduce Miss Marvel, who we already were introduced to and in the series, and then it's going to have Monica Rambeau that's going to be introduced, which we were introduced to in WandaVision, and then Captain Marvel herself is coming back, and there was an end credit scene that's going to tie that together. Not much has been mentioned beyond that on that, so I don't know. I'm not delusional, right? There was a lot of heat surrounding this movie, like it wasn't as accepted.
I think Wayne's phone died.
Oh, possibly.
No, Wayne's dog started barking.
Oh,
so
okay. Suspiciously during Captain America 2. Them dogs don't bark. But I feel like this movie had a lot of heat.
You know something? I haven't heard a lot about it. I see, it's a female cast, but are they ever going to introduce Marvel, the original Captain Marvel?
Yeah. I don't know.
The Creek, why have you read anything? Do you know why it's getting heat?
No, I don't. Other than I know there was like rumblings for a long time on Twitter about like recasting and just like and then they never really said why. Soundtrack was good. I mean, it was great, but again, it was part of that block of Marvel movies that you feel like didn't move you and you wanted them to move you. I
think the whole thing is just an HR thing, an HR reason, or kind of a way to get rid of Brie Larson.
Yeah.
They were like, nobody likes her. We need to get her out of here. We need to get her out of her contract. Let's just write a movie where we kind of phase her out. We'll slowly phase her out over a series of movies and series. And then, in about 7 years from now, she'll be gone.
Yeah, Mike said people don't like Brie Larson, reflecting that in interviews, diverse casting, getting some woke heat. And here's the thing, her film, I don't remember. I think it was one of the few Marvel films I only saw once, and I'm like, okay, done. That was good. I didn't think anything of it, but she was so great in when she showed up in Endgame. Like, she was such a big part of that. I thought that she did a really good job. But
I thought that was well done. because they showed you how powerful Captain Marvel was. She took out that big ship right off the bat, but it would have sucked if she would have got the final kill. It had to be, Thor, Captain America, or Iron Man.
Oh, it had to be one of the three. Oh, I totally agree. That would have, I think the crowd would have lost it. People would not have dug that.
But the Captain Marvel character, regardless of who plays her, is super powerful. So I don't know why anybody would have a problem with her showing power.
Yeah.
And but I do agree. I don't think Brie Larson is very likable on the outside. So that could, and it seems like she would be expected to carry it. So
heat.
That could be a huge problem.
She got superhero heat.
She does have the heat. So, and I think the Miss Marvel character, if you watched any of the behind the scenes stuff for that show, which in the beginning I didn't watch the show. I told you I don't think I'm the audience for that, but as it got towards the end and they started tying into the lore, I liked it, and I actually ended up liking it even more when they started showing the BTS stuff, and you realize how much of a fan the actress playing Kamala Khan is. Then you're like, okay, yeah, she gets it. She wants to be here. She had that very much like almost that Spider-Man likability. Like, yeah, you want somebody to be like, man, I'm just happy to be here. So that made me like her even more. So putting her in the film, and Monica Rambeau, she was great. And she was a really good part of WandaVision. And you were curious where they're going to go with that. So this is smart. If they can't get her out of the contract, if it has something to do with that Ed Norton heat, where like, we got to get rid of this guy ASAP. We don't care if we have to eat it on this film. Then if you can't get her into then put her in an ensemble, because she did find an end game. So you're going to have to write, Wayne's done this millions of times before. When you got a wrestler and they only have one strength, you got to book around that strength. So exactly, that's what they need to do with her. That was it actually for that. And that was a lot. I say that that wasn't a ton, but that was a lot of Marvel content. There was some other stuff, but the other big announcement that came out of there, which I don't even really consider this a Disney film, because this was part of the acquisition, 20th Century Studios, Avatar, The Way of Water, which is coming out this December finally. But I feel like that was an acquisition, not Disney hasn't really gotten their hands in it. And it'd be curious to see how the future is with James Cameron in Disney.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a thing. I think he's going to do this one and be like, I'm out. Y'all wrap it up.
Yeah, and didn't he do like 5 in a row?
He booked 5 in a row, but I don't think he's going to do them all.
Yeah, probably not. But, it's just like it's been so long since I saw that. I don't know how you guys feel. We always gamify and we'd look at the ratings, and knowing that Avatar was always sitting at the top, it was always like, what movie is going to finally beat Avatar? And now, obviously, you have Force Awakens and you have Endgame already in front of Avatar. Do you guys think that Avatar 2, The Way of Water, is going to have the same effect on film landscape like the first Avatar did?
I think there's a distinct possibility. Like, I didn't care. I've watched the trailer now a few times in the theater, and I kind of care now, and I'll definitely go watch it. But James Cameron has sort of redefined blockbuster movies a couple of times already.
True.
So I would say there's a distinct possibility. It could be okay, but there's still a chance he could just, blow it out of the water again.
I know people were clowning on him a little bit for some of his dialogue, but then also he was clowning on Aquaman, ironically, the film he made in Entourage. Like, they don't know how to shoot underwater scenes, and you're like, oh, wow. But then you saw his underwater scenes, like, oh, that's why he said that.
Yeah.
Wayne, are you an Avatar guy? Like, that was a little bit beyond our running the roads together time. That was 2008?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
No. Like, I do remember going to see it in IMAX and being wowed. And I remember how it changed the landscape of 3D because, ironically, it's 3D month at Alamo. But after Avatar, everyone's like, oh, 3D's it. But he's the only one that really booked it to be 3D the way it is. And then we were subjected to a lot of bad 3D after that.
Yeah.
But also, he builds the tech. When, he builds the camera, he builds all the stuff as he's going. That's why it took so long. So I am curious as far as like the technology innovations, what's going to come from The Way of Water. But Also, was the story that original?
No, it's Dances with Wolves in Space, but that's okay.